Many people light candles every year. Maybe sometimes they eat sufganiyot. Maybe sometimes they just focus on the chocolate. Maybe sometimes they eat latkes. The question is, does lighting the candles on Chanukah make you religious? It's a trick question. Answer is no. Why? Because the vast majority of Jewish people today do not keep Shabbat, but many of them light the candles for Chanukah. I was one of them for many, many years, most of my life. I don't remember any year in my entire life that I didn't light Chanukah candles. But I do remember many, many years, Hashem Yerachem Alai, hopefully, that I didn't keep Shabbat, and I didn't keep mitzvot, and I didn't learn Torah. And I wasn't unique. In fact, the vast majority of our brothers and sisters are the same way. They like the holiday of Chanukah much more than most holidays, if not the most out of all the holidays. It almost has become the symbol of Judaism in today's world. Now the question is, why do most Jews love Chanukah so much? You cannot say it's the sufganiyot, because technically you can go and make donuts all year. You cannot say it's the candles, because we have Shabbat candles. Latkes, we eat fried stuff all year round. Someone asked once, what's the connection between Chanukah and sufganiyot? Now, Chachamim say the connection between Chanukah and sufganiyot is the commemoration of the oil. Jokesters like to say that there's a different connection. Different connection. Jokesters, the Chachamim, say there's the best connection. What's the best connection? The Arizal, Alav al Shalom, or even the Arizal says that, the power of Chanukah is more powerful than any other holiday that we have throughout the year, where even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets closer to the nation throughout all of the holidays, on Chanukah it's a special time. It's a special time of brachot, special time of nisim, of miracles, special time of different things to happen in a person's life. If you're praying for something, whether it's to have a kid, or it's to overcome a major obstacle, get married, illnesses, chas v'shalom, money issues, this is the time to overcome all of those obstacles. And the Gemara Masechet Shabbat is the place where we actually learn about Chanukah. And that's why some Chachamim make the connection that one of the tikkunim for Chilul Shabbat is to have extra kavanah and extra sgulot during the time of Chanukah, if anyone ever violated Shabbat. Now, question is, what's the connection between this powerful holiday and sufganiyot? So, Rav Ephraim says, the sgulot and the power of Chanukah, if you do it right, if you have kavanah every time you light the candles, if you don't stingy out on the lamp, you get something with oil. Not that it's that expensive anyway, but you get oil instead of getting these wax candles you get at the 99-cent store sometimes. If you light it in a Beit Knesset, things like that, no problem. But in your own house, you spend $500,000 in the house, spend a couple of dollars on the on oil. That's the way it's supposed to be. If you do it right, the blessings of Chanukah can come all year round. If you eat sufganiyot right, the extra fat you're going to gain is also going to stay all year round. So Chamim in the Gemara says that you have to sometimes start a shiur with a bdicha, with a joke. I think this is the second time in history. So the question is, Be'emet though, on a serious note, what are we celebrating? Now, who wants to volunteer some ideas? Sutton usually has ideas. No, son. Give me something. Okay, so Sutton started the idea. The rest of you are still asleep. If it wasn't Sutton, I think I would cancel the lectures because he's the only one awake here. But anyway, Sutton told us, gave us a nice pshat. He says the Greeks, Imach Shemam v'Zicham, came, desecrated the Bet HaMikdash. The Chashmonaim, after miraculously beating them, destroying them, starting with a dozen people, 13 people, destroyed an army of millions. You go tell that to Donald Trump, he'll tell you, listen, there's many mental institutions in every state in the country. I built some of them if you want. Yeah, 13 people are going to beat millions. No, come on. How much can you believe? People don't want to believe stuff like this. As a side note, there's a very famous story in the Tanakh. In the Tanakh, it's not even the oral Torah, it's the written Torah. Which means that whether you're Jew, Christian, or Arab, Muslim, you have to believe this. Yet the vast majority of people either don't know it or don't believe it. What's the story? Story is Chizkiyahu HaMelech. Chizkiyahu HaMelech was one of the righteous kings of Am Yisrael. At his time, there was the Assyrians. The Assyrians were the most powerful people that lived in their generation. They literally were a war machine that was demolishing anything in their sight. One day they decided there's a place called Yerushalayim where all these Jews are there. They don't want to comply with our rules. Let's just destroy them. Let's just destroy them. Why not? On the way. You know, it's like, on the way. What's Jerusalem in size in comparison to Assyria? Just compare, let's say, for example, America versus, let's say, Tahiti. Most of you maybe don't even know what Tahiti is. There is like 6 people there, the rest of them are tourists. That's how you compare the Assyrians to Jerusalem. As far as people, manpower, as far as weapons, and so on. But the Assyrian king, Sancheriv, Imach Shemo v'Zichro, says, let's go destroy Yerushalayim. So the Tanakh says, he brought 185,000 soldiers. Some say much more. There was 185,000 leaders, which each one of them had thousands of soldiers. Needless to say, it was a lot of people. A lot of people. They come to the outskirts of Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim wasn't as big as it is today. It was tiny. Meaning, if these people, whether it's 185,000 or millions, doesn't make a difference. If they just spit, Yerushalayim drowns. Forget the swords and the everything else. Just spit, saliva, the whole place drowns. The Tanakh says, Chizkiyahu HaMelech says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I did what you wanted me to do. I'm going to sleep now. You take care of the war. You wanted me to teach Torah? Every single child from the age of 6 and up knows the entire Torah by heart. No other generation in history had something like this. To such an extent that Torah says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make Chizkiyahu Mashiach. It's the only person in the entire Torah that actually says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make Chizkiyahu the actual Mashiach. No one else made such kiruv. No one. 6-year-old knows the entire Torah by heart. Today, 6-year-olds don't know Aleph Bet. Unless my wife is your teacher, and Michal, then you know, Baruch Hashem. 6 years old, other than that, you don't got much hope in this generation. 6 years old, they know the entire Torah. So now, Chizkiyahu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, I'm going to sleep. Meaning, he's not even fighting. He's not like, hey guys, let's get it together, we'll pray, we'll bring some swords, maybe some bombs, we got it, we got this. Guys, we got this. Nothing. I'm going to sleep. He goes to sleep, they wake up in the morning, they see hundreds of thousands of bodies, dead, corpses, all over the ground, everywhere. Of not the Jews, Chas v'Shalom. The entire army, the entire Assyrian army, demolished to nothing. Only thing that's left is Sancheriv and his sons. That's it. Everyone else is dead. Torah says, how did this happen? HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent a malach, killed everybody. 2 seconds. Malach doesn't need too much weapons. Killed everybody 1 second. There's no like sword fight. Oh, he got me. No, none of that stuff. There's no movie scene. There's no movie scene. If they made a movie out of this, it would be the worst seller in history. Why? The movie would end in half a second. Everybody dies. That's it. Finished. So now, this is in the Torah. The Jews obviously supposed to believe this. The Christians say they believe in the Torah. They call it Old Testament, but nonetheless, they don't say it's fake Testament. They say it's Old Testament, meaning they believe it. The Arabs also say, they call it Torah. That's their beginning. But yet, Rabotai Yekarim, the vast majority of people do not believe it. You know what they believe? Because everyone knows this is a historical account, meaning they definitely died. No one is saying these people didn't die. Everybody believes they died. But they're having trouble with the angel part. They're saying maybe they died, historians, even today, in Yale University, in different books that were written, say maybe it was a plague. A plague killed everybody overnight. How come it didn't hit Sancheriv and his sons? How come it didn't hit Am Yisrael? How come nobody else heard about it? How come the history books don't write any of this stuff? But I'll give you the best one. Plague wasn't in it. Famous historian, scholar, says, no, it wasn't a plague. It wasn't a plague. The entire army of the most powerful army in the world was destroyed by desert mice. Desert mice attacked them and killed everybody. This is the most common opinion today. Mice killed the most powerful army. It's like saying, China just lost the war, so who beat them? Oh, it was all the mice they eat. The mice fought back. The mice fought back, said, no, we're not taking this anymore. Stop eating us. This is what people believe. What does this show us about today's generation, Rabotai? It shows us that it's easier for us to believe in mice than it is to believe in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So now we go back to Satan. Satan said we are celebrating that we found oil. After the Greeks desecrated the Bet HaMikdash, we came in there and we saw that there was oil, but the oil wasn't kosher, if you will. Wasn't kosher, if you will. Only 1 can of oil was kosher, which was enough to light the menorah for 1 day. Which, by the way, just so you know, the term Chanukah, which is what most people refer to the menorah that you have in your house, is a modern term. The Torah calls the Chanukah menorah. That's really what you're supposed to call it. You're not supposed to call it Chanukah. You could call it Chanukah. It's not a sin, but it's actually called a menorah. It's not called a Chanukah. Chanukah is more of a modern day term. But anyway, so Chachamim go back and forth about why didn't he just use the other oil? Why? Since when does oil have to be stamped by the Kohen Gadol? Since when does oil have kosher, not kosher? And they go back and forth about this whole thing, but we're not going to go into all of that. We're still focused on, okay, so he found the oil. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a second question. I'm going to ask Satan a second question. Maybe you guys could help him this time, because he helped you the first time. Give him back something. Now, let's say that's the reason. We found the oil. What's more amazing? Finding oil in a place that's supposed to be full of oil. I mean, Bet HaMikdash is huge. Menorah was it wasn't the first time they ever lit it. They lit it many times. So you happen to find oil that wasn't touched. It's not like the Greeks had some special obsession with oil or something. I don't know that from any of the books. So 1 canister wasn't touched. The other ones you could have used anyway, by the way. But let's say one of them wasn't touched. Okay, big deal. Is that more amazing than 13 people destroying millions?
No.
Even in a video game, it'd be more amazing if you beat the entire army by yourself than if you found 1 canister of oil somewhere under some thing that you have, right? I mean, you beat the whole team by yourself. What's the millions of people? So why do we celebrate the oil and not the war? No, who attended last week's shiur, you sleepy people? I gave you the answer last week. Why are we celebrating the oil and not the war? We just 13 people beat millions. You take one elephant, he could step on all 13 people. You know how big elephants are? That's how they fought wars in those days. You go on an elephant, it's like a tank. You could shoot spears until you turn blue in your face. It doesn't do anything. Why is 13 people beating millions, most powerful army in the world? Why is that not celebrated? Why are we celebrating we found some oil? Explain to us.
The war was physical because we have to go and fight.
The war is physical and the war is spiritual.
So, because it was a kind of powerful did it, therefore it was a spiritual battle. So it was much higher to celebrate the oil instead of the battle itself.
Wait, so the war was spiritual, not physical?
The war was physical.
Uh-huh.
Physical way of fighting.
Okay.
The oil was spiritual. It was from Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Right.
So that's why we celebrate that.
Okay, so let me reword what Netanel just told us in a way that all of us could understand. In so many words, Netanel said that really the only reason why we won the physical war is because of our spiritual connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore we celebrate the spiritual aspect of the Chanukah, which is the connection to the oil. Now that answers one part of the question. That answers why we celebrate the spirituality. We celebrate Chanukah, the oil, because of the connection to the spirituality. That's the reason why 13. Obviously, there's no logical human reason that we can explain how 13 people could be millions. It's only Yad Hashem, just like the angel killed 185,000 in less than a second. Same thing, 13 people beating millions. It's the same miracle. It's no different for Hashem. So that gives us the reason of why we're celebrating the oil. But it still doesn't give us the reason of why we're not celebrating the war. So you gave us half an answer. Thank you very much.
The war is half the battle.
War is half the battle. That still doesn't give me the half. Why are we not celebrating it? How come we're not all walking around dressed like Chashmonaim with some swords? Maybe like, they have Star Wars. We'll have Chashmonaim start hitting each other with swords. Ta, ta, ta. Like, I don't know, a second Purim. Wear a costume.
It was obviously a miracle that they didn't do it themselves.
No.
It was Hashem that did it.
Hashem did it. You're just copying your brother. That's just plagiarism. He just said it. It's your brother. You're not allowed to steal his answer. He's already said it. I was a witness. No, hold on. Let me give him the rest of the answer. I'm just busting his chops. No?
It's, saying, celebrating the war would be like, okay, you celebrating something that you didn't do.
Ken?
And the fact that it's the oil we celebrated, we saw that we actually standing for something which is, we're standing for Hashem. We're doing something we're not trying to just do it. Basically just do the bare minimum, just doing it and making sure it's pure and for the sake of heaven, trying to make sure that it's just
So Elchanan is telling us that technically what we have here is we won, yes, there's a physical war, but we won it spiritually, but it has something to do with our spirituality. The reason why we're not celebrating the physical aspect of it is because of the spiritual aspect of it. Okay. Well, just like Netanel gave us an answer, he gave us another answer, we'll reword it a little bit and say what the Pri Chadash says. The Pri Chadash and also the Pachad Yitzchak, Rav Hutner, and many others tell us many times over the reason why we celebrate the spirituality aspect of it is because that's the only thing that we won. The physical war, we're still losing.
מרבה תורה, מרבה חיים. ומי שפורש מתורה, חס ושלום נדבק במוות. זה פשוט.
So anyone that is looking for ways to better his situation, protect himself, protect his family from the horrific situation that's around us, the terrorism and everything else, they must understand that the only way is to increase Torah. More Torah, more life.